All right, great. Thank you so much. First of all, good morning, everybody. It's great to meet you. Great to hear your stories. Very excited, very honored to be here to talk about something that I think is very important, and that's real estate investing. Again, my name is Tyson Cafe-Ruoff. I work here at the downtown branch right at Home Realty. I've been an agent for about 10 years now, and over that time, I've experienced and learned a lot about real estate and real estate investing. And hopefully today I can share with you some of that knowledge and give you guys some insight on what it takes to get started, the different types of investments, how you can make money, and how as an agent I can help you. So first thing I want to do is I want to start with this quote. Most of you have probably seen it before. Okay, it's a very famous quote, a very famous person, and it's 100% true. It's 90%. Of all millionaires become so through owning real estate, said by Andrew Carnegie. For those of you who don't know, one of the richest men in American history. Okay, you may have heard of Carnegie Hall. That was one of his donations, but he was a very wealthy man in the 19th century, and that quote was relevant back then, and as time has passed, I think it's become even more and more relevant. If you pick up Forbes issue of world's richest people, you'll notice that a lot of them have some very impressive real estate holdings, and that's no coincidence. So speaking of investments, a lot of people ask, okay, where do I get started? Well, obviously you're all here because you think real estate is a great investment, and I couldn't agree more. Usually the great debate is stocks versus real estate. They both have their pros and their cons, as you can see here. Me personally, as a real estate agent, I'm also a real estate investor. Okay, I was lucky where my family got into it when I was young. They taught me about it, and me personally, I own 2 properties. One I do as an Airbnb, and the other one I have as an investment property. For me, I look at real estate more as a long-term investment, and I think that's really important for everybody to understand. Real estate, long-term, it's a fantastic investment. It's much more stable than the stock market, at least in my opinion. And a few other pros about real estate as an investment. As you can see here, you have passive income, which you can generate through rentals. Okay, there's growth potential, stability, predictability, and as we've spoken about, increased value. Okay, there's no guarantees in life, but with real estate, it's almost guaranteed that over time it's going to increase in value. Especially in a city like Toronto, we've seen prices 30 years ago compared to now, it's mind-boggling. Speaking of Toronto, why do we want to invest in this amazing city and the GTA in general? Well, Toronto is actually the 4th largest city in all of North America. You have Mexico City, Los Angeles, New York, and then you have Toronto. And we're still growing, okay? If you look at magazines or websites, you'll see that for the last few years, Toronto has continued to grow with population. And there's a reason for that, okay? We have a very stable economy. We have a great government. Doug Ford, I think one of his things is open for business. He has great incentives for corporations to come in and set up shop. And actually that's helped Toronto become Canada's tech hub. We've seen companies like Amazon, Google, Netflix set up their headquarters in Toronto, and that's created a lot of job opportunities for people. People from other provinces, other countries are flocking to Toronto because of those job opportunities. And that, actually, we don't have the data from 2022, but it should come shortly. But in 2021 was actually a record year for immigration into the city. Okay, it absolutely blew the record out of the water. We had over 159,000 people move into the city. And the reason why I think this is important to know is new people moving into the city, they're going to need a place to live. Okay, and that's just going to fuel the market. It's just going to fuel the housing demand, and that's going to help you as an investor if you own a property, perhaps rent it out. Speaking of renting, the average rent for a 1-bedroom apartment right now is $2,400, which is about a 20% increase from last year, and we're seeing that get higher and higher and higher. So that's great if you're a landlord, a little scary if you're a tenant looking for a place, but people are lining up to rent out. Okay, so we've seen why investing in real estate and investing in Toronto is a great thing. How do we get ready? Well, the first thing is you want to get your finances in order, okay? If you already own a property and you're looking to buy a secondary property, an investment property, you have to think about the down payment, okay? Some of you here are already investors, you may have some knowledge about that, but usually for an investment property, a secondary property, you're going to be looking for a minimum of 20% down payment, okay? So it's very important when you're doing your math to think about that. If it's a commercial property, that might be a little bit higher. Now, if you're looking to buy your first property, it's going to be a primary residence, and maybe you're going to have an investment apartment in there, a separate suite, a basement. and it's under $1 million, that down payment may be a little less. Okay, we have a mortgage broker today, you can speak to them about that. So that's good to know. Another thing is with taxes. When you're buying a property in Ontario, you have the land transfer tax, but if you're buying in Toronto, you also have the Toronto land transfer tax, so that's important to know. But also, any income that you generate from your property, okay, is going to be subjected to income tax, minus any expenses that you incur. Okay, so that's very important to know. And if you're thinking of buying a property for the purposes of renovating it and flipping it, you have to think about the capital gains tax. Okay, that's a big thing. If you're selling a property and you're making a profit off it, the government's going to want 50% of that profit. Okay, so that's really important to know. The next thing is, yeah.
Questions. With the capital gains, this is one of those.
Sorry, can we keep the questions for the
Sure,
jury?
thank you so much.
We'll talk after, sure.
Yeah.
And also, what are you hoping to get out of this? Okay, you want to define your financial goals. Like I said before, real estate is a long-term investment. Stocks, yeah, short-term. Real estate, long-term. Okay, so that's always good to think about. And before you jump into any investment, you never want to get emotional. You always want to think of something called your ROI, your rate on investment. So that means, okay, how much am I paying for this property? How much can I potentially rent it out? Minus the maintenance, property management, utilities. You want to do a little bit of math beforehand to make sure that this is the right investment for you. Okay, so those are a few things to think about beforehand. Once you figure that out, you have different types of investments that you can make in real estate. As an investor, you can look at a new build, pre-construction, so that's you're buying the plans directly from a developer. You may be able to choose the floor plan, some finishes. Keep in mind that you're buying it before construction has even begun. So it may take 5 years, and during those 5 years, things can change. You're kind of at the whim of a developer there, okay? Next thing is resale condos, okay? All these condos around here, those are resale condos, and that's you're buying directly from a seller. I really like these because what you see is what you get, okay? You can come into the unit, you can see how it's completed, the quality of construction. Sometimes development may seem great, but when it's all finished and done, not so much. Now you have a few years for this development after being completed. You can check it out. You also have hard stats, how much it's been rented out for the last few years, how much it's sold for the last few years. So that's positives for resale condos. One of the most popular and in-demand properties are income properties. So we spoke about primary residences. A lot of people, they want to try and get into that right away, where they buy a property with a self-sustained income property. So what I mean is like a basement suite. It's got a kitchen, it's got a washroom, it's got a separate entrance. That's great. It can help pay for your mortgage. You can build equity. This is one of the most in-demand in Toronto and usually more expensive. Okay. Next we have mixed-use properties, and that's residential mixed with commercial. So you have a commercial storefront and a residential unit on top. Finally, we have your renovating and flipping. Very popular. We all see it on HGTV. It's when you're getting a kind of old rundown place and you're building it up in a fantastic neighborhood and then selling it down the line. Keep in mind capital gains tax on that, so it's really important that you think about the renovation costs that I incur, real estate commission, things like that, okay? So those are the type of investments, and this is how you can make money from them. So we've spoken about being a landlord, and that's a great way to get yourself a monthly cash flow. We spoke about passive income. So that's any amount of money that you're making every month from your tenant. Things to consider, obviously, the expenses. Are you charging them utilities? Are you not charging them? The maintenance fees, okay? And also, if you're going to be a landlord, one thing that's really important is in Toronto and Ontario, there's a lot of responsibilities being a landlord. We have something called the Residential Tenancies Act. There's a lot of rules in place, so it's really important that you make sure you know what you're getting yourself into before you jump in, because it can either be an amazing thing, or if you're not up for the work, it can be a horrible thing. But luckily, that's why we have property management groups, so they can help you with that. One thing that's really important to know as well, that some people don't know, is that in Ontario, we have kind of rental rate rules, okay? So you can only increase the rent by a certain percent every year. At the moment, it's 2.5%, which is not that much when you think about it. But if you're buying a property built after November 2018, built and occupied after that time, There's no rules actually, so you can actually increase that amount by as much as you want, as long as you give your tenant 90-day notice with the proper forms. Okay, so that's something really important. Resale appreciation, that's pretty straightforward. Okay, that's just the money you're making after you buy, you sell and buy a home. Okay, again, like I said before, in Toronto, year after year, we've seen an increase. Right now, we're in a little bit of a low, but as a buyer looking to invest, we always talk about buying low, selling high. Now is a great opportunity, okay? There's a lot of great opportunities out there if you're a buyer. Okay, so now that we know what we need to know about investment and the different types of investing, we can kind of start to get our ducks in a row, so to speak. So you always want to know your financial stage, okay? Maybe you saved up, maybe you have a down payment, but it's really important before you jump into anything to speak to your mortgage broker, find out how much you qualify for, so they can help you know how much money you have to kind of work with. Once you have that, you can kind of build your investment strategy a little bit more. We've spoken about the different types of investments you have, pre-construction, resale, income properties. They all come in different price brackets, and based on how much you're pre-qualified for and what you're looking to achieve, you can start to focus and target on that. One thing also is identify your target market. So what I mean by that is, who are you looking to rent to? Who are you looking to sell to? Okay, perhaps if you're looking to rent, and you want to kind of have people that move in every year, every 2 years, students, young professionals, okay, or if you're looking for a longer term tenant where you can kind of put them in there, don't really worry, maybe you're looking for more families, okay, so that's investment properties that you're going to focus on. A lot of that depends on the size of the property and the location. For instance, downtown, you mostly get a lot of students and young professionals. If you walk around the street here, you'll see that demographic is walking and talking right out there. If you're looking to resale, okay, again, maybe your target market's going to be a young family. Okay, they're usually the ones, the demographic we see that spend the most amount of money buying in fantastic neighborhoods like Roncesvalles, Hyde Park. Those type of people, they don't necessarily want to renovate right away. They have young children, 3, 5 years old, so maybe you're looking, okay, I'm going to buy a fixer-upper in one of these classic communities with great schools, great community events, fix it up, make it look beautiful, and sell it for a great profit. So you want to think about the target market, who you're looking to sell for, who you're looking to attract, and then you can focus in on them. Once you have all these three, then you can really define your property criteria, okay? That's when the real fun begins, because now you have a better idea, you can hone in and focus on what you're looking to buy, how much you want to spend, and the areas, okay? And that's when I come into play as a real estate agent. My job is to help you achieve all of these goals, okay? As an agent, a lot of you know buyer's agent, we work for free for the buyers. We actually get paid by the sellers, okay? But that doesn't mean that we work for them at all. Our best interests are always focused on you, trying to get you the best deal, looking out for you. As an agent, for me, I think the first thing is to always develop a relationship with somebody, get to know what you're looking for, and that involves, sitting down, having a cup of coffee, having a cup of tea, and learning about you and your goals. After we have an idea and we see if we're a good fit or not, then we can kind of move forward. And that's me telling you maybe, based on your goals, your finances, good areas to invest in, up and coming areas, maybe a place that you're building a GO Transit. There's some great areas, not just in Toronto, but outside in the GTA that are just waiting to be expanded upon, okay? So that's my job to help you with that. Once we know your requirements, I start sending you properties based on that, as well as a number breakdown, okay? Not just a beautiful property, but why this is a great property, what rental rates have gone for in this building, what resale values have happened in this neighborhood, what new infrastructure is being built, okay? So my job is not only to provide you the properties, but the reason why as well. The numbers don't lie. After we've done that, we can see a property, and I think as an investor, it's really important for you not just to see the property, but also the surrounding area, okay? I always advise people, check it out during the day, check it out during the evening, in the middle of the day. It gives you a broad sense of what's going on, and helps you determine if this is the right area for you, the right investment property for you. Once you've determined the property is right for you, the next thing your agent is going to do is help you negotiate the best price and terms, okay? This is probably the best part of being an agent, the negotiation part. And right now, the market, we can actually negotiate. I'm sure you've heard before, bidding wars, we're not seeing that so much right now. Now we can actually start putting in good terms, financing, home inspection, which is fantastic. Okay, the worst thing is you buy a home, you waive your home inspection. I heard earlier some gentleman was talking about a massive leak that they didn't know about. Okay, you can avoid all that. And with these conditions, if you find something that is not to your liking, if you find something that's not to your liking, okay, these conditions are there to protect you so you can walk away from the deal, get your deposit back, and then move on to the next thing. Okay, wipe your hands clean from that. Finally, just the continued service, okay? As an agent, you always want to still be there. After the sale, your agent is still there, giving you updates, what's going on in the building, new rents increase, letting you know what's happening in the market, and as well providing you information if you need to know about contractors, landlord services, mortgage agent, good property service. Your agent should always be there, and that's something that I try to do myself. So I know we only have 10 minutes, and I apologize that I kind of had to really rush through this. But if you like what you've heard and you want to talk more, we'll have some time. But here's my contact information. I have my business cards over here. And yeah, I'd love to sit down, have an informal chat with you, and see how we can help you, focus on your specific goals. So, thank you very much, everybody, and let's start your investment journey.